We all have those memories that are kind of deeply rooted in the back of our brains from our childhood, where there's things that we don't particularly completely remember, but anything could trigger that memory back. It could be a music track, a sound effect, it could be a picture or a video clip or a character or anything. It'll give you one of those moments where you go, oh yeah, that was a thing I remember as a kid. One of those things may be the topic of the video today. If you read the title, you already know what it is. If for some reason you're seeing this video without the title, it's gonna be a surprise. So I'm gonna start fading in that music in the background, a little audio cue for you. And maybe this will be one of those deeply rooted memories that you kind of remember, but not really, but you kind of do. If for some reason you haven't picked up on it by now, we're talking about Code Lyoko. That kind of an anime, not really an anime, that I think was published or licensed by Cartoon Network at some point, and I watched all the episodes with my brother on our web browser on our old slow-ass Dell computer. You know that thing with the theme song that goes a little something like, we're just kids and we ride skateboards and scooters and we found an underground factory and we're gonna kill digital monsters and now we're gonna send everything back in time and save the world. None of this makes any sense. Code Lyoko is a show where these group of friends find this underground factory with these teleporters in, and they say, oh, I think it would be a good idea to go into one of these things. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. I don't know where I'm at. Hey man. Hey, I don't think I'm supposed to even be here right now. Yo, I just got these superpowers and they're custom tailored to my personality. How does that even work, dude? But for some reason, there's this force that's buried down in the computer networks, and it's like a virus that infects the real world, and it's trying to take over the world and kill everybody through the power of electricity or something. It's very much an entertaining, doesn't make very much sense kids show that aired and had a good run, and I actually remember enjoying it. It's kind of hard to watch today as an adult who can kind of like see through the smoke and mirrors that it kind of portrays to give you some depth, but it came out with a video game. This was something I kind of overlooked even when I knew it was a thing. I never really looked into it, but they had a 3D platformer that came out for the PS2, the Wii, and even the PSP. And today, we're going to be taking a little stab at looking into that video game. That's all I got. So in the game, you play as some of the main characters: Yumi, Aelita, Ulrich, Odd. You don't play as Jeremy though, because he's a little bitch. What are you gonna do? Type on the computer? Ooh, I think I'm about to enter the name. I think there actually is a fan game that's still being developed on today where you actually do control the supercomputer, which is, it's kind of funny. A little contrasting difference from this game. This is all about the characters and the action, baby. These obviously take place on the different worlds that you find in Lyoko. You know, you got the ice, the desert, the forest, the digital world thing. All the Lyoko worlds are here, including some hell lava type of area. I don't remember if that was in the show. And it has been over a decade since I actually watched this show, so I'm not really up to par on my Code Lyoko lore, but I think it takes place pretty late into the storyline of the anime series. I don't even know if you want to call it an anime, that's just what we're going with. But right off of the bat, that's the biggest flaw with this, is that just out of nowhere, you're placed like in the middle of the story, or in the later half of the story actually. So if you've never actually watched the series or you brushed up on it, you're not really gonna know what's going on in the game. Like, your main enemy is this William character, and then there's a clone of him that appears like on school campus, but they don't really explain any of this. There's no flashbacks, so if you've never actually been up to par with the series, none of this is gonna make sense to you. Also, another glaring issue is you have like two sections of the game. You got this main menu that's cleverly disguised as like a hub area where you can interact with different characters as you're progressing through the story.
What's wrong, Mrs. Hertz?
It's you! You! I can't take it anymore! I haven't slept all week because of you students! You're in my nightmares! I'm all alone in front of you, thousands of you, right there looking at me with your vicious little eyes and your pointy little teeth like vampires!
Hey, me too! I had a nightmare last night. Kiwi had turned into a giant and he was flying around the sky dropping poison meatballs.
Bruh.
And there I was, swimming around in an ocean of fish batter.
Bruh.
But I couldn't drown. The stuff was too thick.
Leave me alone!
Huge missed opportunity here, considering I really like this show for the slice of life elements, and this would be a great opportunity for them to implement more of this stuff into the game. However, there's only two things: school campus, the factory, That's it. And a lot of dialogue sequences will repeat even though you've already talked to him. What would have easily kind of negated this is if the characters just disappeared after you talk to him. But no, they just keep it in there. There's even sections where William was like missing from school and then he came back, but there's still characters that'll mention that he's missing. Kind of a little oversight here.
He's just as interesting and on the ball as he's always been.
Hey, Millie, I got a scoop for you. Have you ever noticed that Sissy and the principal have the same name? Well, I looked into it, and Sissy is Mr. Delmas's daughter. Weird, isn't it?
No comment.
Game was probably rushed, to be honest with you. That would make most sense to me. And maybe they're just going with what they had to work with. Maybe they didn't have a lot of dialogue to work with. Maybe they were just ripping stuff straight from the series and that's all they had. But story stuff aside, we gotta talk about the gameplay here, because obviously if you're not doing much with the story, you gotta have some compelling gameplay, right? Well, just gotta put this right off of the bat. Odd's pretty OP, and if I had the opportunity to play with him, he was the only character I play as. Because with Ulrich, you just have a sword, so you gotta get up and close and personal with him. With Aelita, you can do this like projectile throwing thing, but every time you do it, your character freezes. With Yumi, she throws fans, but again, you have to wait for them all to lock on for her to actually throw it and then recharge to do it again. But with Odd, you can just run and blast them constantly, dude. Like I'm not even trying. I'm just holding the shoot trigger down and moving, and that's it, dude. And if it was possible and the game didn't put these artificial barriers in for you to actually be forced to do these combat sequences, the enemies aren't even hard. The AI is just very repetitive and you can actually run right past them most of the time. And there's no real risk of losing. There's a checkpoint system, but the thing is, every time you die, it just immediately snaps you back to that last checkpoint. So everything from the game resets to that point. So if there was like 3 enemies around that checkpoint area, it just kind of restarts all of that. It's really a lazy implementation.
Bruh.
That looks good!
Also, all of the characters have kind of their own special abilities to help you get through certain parts of the level. The game kind of thought it was Dark Souls and would have you retrace your steps back through other levels to unlock new areas inside of that level and stuff, but I really never even bothered with it. I never felt much of a need or want to do it. But whenever I was just doing a basic platforming sequence where I had to use one character's special ability, it never felt like it was an interesting gameplay element. I was just doing it because the game forced me to do it. Like with Aelita, you could freeze the enemies in a certain spot into an ice block so you could use them to platform off of. But the only time you ever do this is when the game basically tells you to do it. And you had this little obviously placed enemy spawn point where if you kill them, they'll just immediately keep spawning back in that area until you inevitably freeze them and do the platform thing. And then whenever you use a character's special platforming ability, like Odd's ability to scale back and forth up a wall, instead of this just being, you know, part of the character's platforming like any other platforming game, it's a lazy quick time event that just feels sloppy and really weird to do. Like I'm hitting the buttons to balance Yumi on a log or put Odd up this wall, and it's just, it feels like it's unresponsive. Just kind of like, whatever, dude. One big positive I will give is that when you're inside of these worlds, it really does feel like you're in Lyoko. You're in the series. Like if you're just watching the gameplay slices, it kind of looks like you're playing the anime, dude, and that's pretty nice. Unfortunately, I just kind of think all of it was just a little rushed. It was just being licensed out to one of these publishers slash developers that were just these licensed game farms, you know, the ones that make like Garfield Racing or Crazy Frog Racing or whatever the hell it is, you know, Shrek the video game, that just kind of milk and pump out these lazily placed cash grab games that are just based off of movies and IPs, and it's kind of sad. But yeah, that's the Code Lyoko game. Played a few hours of it, and I think I'm never going to touch it again. You guys have any memories of this or the series or the game or any other games similar to this that I should cover? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, well, subscribe. Check out the Patreon if you want to help support the channel and directly fund videos like this. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. And that's all I got, baby. We're out here mic'd up. Oscar mic. This is a mic test. Mic test. I got a mic here on the floor, but we're not gonna use it. I don't even know why I got this thing down here. Oh man, I didn't even spill the coffee. That was pretty sweet. Uh-oh. He's got a drink around the green screen. I hope he doesn't spill it. Oh,